2014 was a whirlwind year that will be remembered for many things. Germany winning the World Cup and becoming the first European team to win a World Cup outside Europe. The Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 that mysteriously disappeared without a trace, carrying 239 passengers and crew, and many other triumphs and tragedies that we saw unfold in the world's media. But 2014 was also a remarkable year for scientific breakthroughs. For the first time ever, a woman gave birth to a baby after receiving a womb transplant. NASA's Orion spacecraft, designed to take humans on deep space exploration missions, completed its first test flight. And researchers showed us the most impressive robot swarm to date, with inch-wide robots that are capable of self-assembling into two-dimensional shapes. With so many scientific strides made, let's take a look at the biggest scientific discoveries of 2014. Scientists complete DNA analysis of King Richard III. A skeleton found beneath a Leicester car park has been confirmed as that of English King Richard III. Experts from the University of Leicester were able to trace genetic evidence through over 20 generations to his living descendants. Remarkably, this is the oldest DNA identification case of a known individual. Richard was suspected of the murders of the only sons of King Edward IV. The princes disappeared shortly after he was crowned in 1483. Richard, the last king of the House of York, died a few years later in 1845 at the Battle of Bosworth. His skeleton had suffered 10 injuries, including 8 to the skull, 2 of which were potentially fatal. One was a slice removing a flap of bone. The other was caused by a bladed weapon which, after entering one side of the head, pierced right through to the opposite side of the skull. DNA analysis also revealed a break in the male line of Richard's family tree, meaning one of Richard III's male relatives' wives would have given birth to another man's child. This undermines the Tudor dynasty and even raises a question mark over the current Queen's royal heritage. Fossils of an extinct squirrel-like animal were uncovered in China, suggesting that mammals originated more than 200 million years ago. It was previously thought that the first mammals were multituberculates that evolved during the Jurassic period. Multituberculates are a group of rodent-like mammals that existed for about 120 million years, and are often considered the most successful, diverse, and long-lasting mammals in natural history. However, we now know they were not the first mammals thanks to 3 new species of Haramiyid found in China. The near-complete skeletons have given researchers a more detailed look and allowed them to confirm for the first time that Haramiids were in fact mammals. One of the newly identified species had a monkey-like tail and hands and feet that could grasp branches, indicating this graceful species lived in the trees above the dinosaurs. Some Haramiid fossils date back 215 million years to the Triassic period. This means the divergence of mammals from reptiles had to have happened much earlier than some researchers estimated. Indonesian cave paintings are 40,000 years old. The artwork, which was originally discovered in caves in the tropical forests of Sulawesi, Indonesia in the 1950s, had been dismissed as between 5 to 10,000 years old. This was because scientists believed older paintings couldn't have survived the tropical climate. This year, new analysis by an Australian-Indonesian team came to the stunning conclusion that the paintings were much older. Some of the wild animal paintings have a minimum age of over 35,000 years old, and one of the many hand stencils is at least 39,900 years old, making it the oldest example of a hand stencil ever found. While the paint layers themselves can't be dated, the cave art is dated by samples taken from calcium carbide deposits that contain radioactive uranium. Samples taken growing over the artwork give a minimum age, and the samples from under the artwork lead to the maximum age. The discovery has great significance, as prior to this scientists believed modern human artistic intelligence had awoken in Western Europe, as the oldest examples of art were found there, such as cave art found in Spain, which is over 40,000 years old, and figurative mammoth ivory sculptures found in German caves that are between 35 and 40,000 years old. This new evidence means that our ancient ancestors from Asia developed artistic skills roughly around the same time as those in Europe. or that modern human ancestors may have even been artists upon leaving the African continent, which would mean many more ancient artistic discoveries could yet be found. A new prosthetic hand is tested and gives amputees a sense of touch. Dennis Sorensen lost his left hand in his 20s while handling fireworks on a family holiday. After testing the new prosthetic robotic, he became the first amputee in the world to feel in real time with a sensory-enhanced bionic hand. It was also the first sense of touch Dennis had felt from having a left hand in 9 years, and in a press release he described the sensory feedback as incredible. Sensors in the finger's artificial tendons track tension as the hand moves. This information is then relayed to a computer that converts the data into a signal that can be understood by the nervous system. The signal is then sent to 4 electrodes surgically implanted in the upper arm. Remarkably, with sound blocked out and blindfolded, Dennis during testing was able to accurately describe the shape and consistency of the objects passed him. While something on par with Luke Skywalker's bionic hand in episode 5 may be a long way off, the next step for the sensory feedback bionic hand will be scaling down the technology needed for it to function, making it usable in everyday life. Fossilised bones of a dinosaur found in Argentina are believed to be from the largest creature ever to walk the earth. Paleontologists announced the discovery of the largest dinosaur to have ever walked the earth. Dreadnoughtus lived between 66 to 84 million years ago. The massive Ceropod weighed around 65 tons, 9 times the weight of a Tyrannosaurus rex, and was 26 meters in length. Years of excavating and analysing the brilliantly preserved skeleton, of which nearly half of all its bones were recovered, revealed Dreadnoughtus wasn't even finished growing because its shoulder bones had yet to fuse together, like seen in adult ceropods. NASA's Kepler telescope discovers the first Earth-sized planet in the habitable zone of another star. NASA's Kepler Space Observatory was designed to survey a portion of our region of the Milky Way galaxy to discover planets in or near the habitable zone, and determine how many of the billions of stars in our galaxy have such planets. The Kepler spacecraft launched on March 7, 2009 and didn't disappoint. As of December 2014, Kepler has confirmed 996 exoplanets, along with a further 3,216 unconfirmed planet candidates. Kepler 186f, described as Earth's cousin, is perhaps the most interesting of them all and was presented at a conference on the 19th of March 2014. Prior to the discovery of Kepler 186f, the most Earth-like planet was Kepler 62f. Kepler 62f is 40% larger than the size of Earth and situated in its star's habitable zone. Kepler 186f is less than 10% larger than Earth, the perfect size to be a rocky planet, and also resides in the habitable zone, which is the region around a star which is the right distance to support liquid water on a planet's surface. Kepler 186f orbits its star, a red dwarf, once every 130 days, and if you could stand on the surface of the planet, the brightness of its star at high noon would appear as bright as our sun at about an hour before sunset on Earth. The European Space Agency lands on a comet. Rosetta, a robotic space probe built and launched by the European Space Agency, along with Philae, its lander module, launched on the 2nd of March 2004 and reached the comet 67P Churyumov-Gerasimenko on the 6th of August 2014, becoming the first spacecraft to orbit a comet. Philae detached from Rosetta on the 12th of November 2014 and approached 67P at 2.2 miles per hour. On contact with the surface, 2 harpoons were to be fired into the comet to prevent the lander from bouncing off. However, due to a softer landing than expected, it bounced twice before settling, becoming the first spacecraft humanity has landed on a comet. Analysis of the comet's water had hoped to help shed light on where Earth's water came from. Unlike the comet Hartley 2, which the European Space Agency studied in 2011, the Rosetta mission found that the comet's water was not a match with Earth's water, as it contains more of a hydrogen isotope called deuterium than the water on Earth does. Well, I hope you enjoyed the first video of 2015. I would like to thank everyone who watched, liked or commented on our video in 2014, everyone who subscribed and those of you who continue to support the channel. Happy New Year, and I look forward to bringing you loads of new content throughout 2015.